everyone, myself Preeti. I'm studying in Sri Venkateshwara College of Engineering, currently in 7th semester, and I'm going to talk about the subject network management, and the topic is OSI Layers and Services. What is OSI Layers? OSI stands for Open Systems Interconnection. It was developed by ISO International Organization for Standardization in the year 1984. It is a seven-layer architecture with each layer having specific functionality to perform. All these seven layers work collaboratively to transmit the data from one person to another across the globe. Layers of OSI model. The OSI model consists of seven abstract layers arranged in a top-down order: the physical layer, data link layer, network layer, transport layer, session layer, presentation layer, and application layer. This is the systematic diagram of OSI model consisting of seven layers that are application layer, presentation layer, session layer, transport layer, network layer, data link layer, and physical layer. What is physical layer? Layer 1. Let's see. The lowest layer of the OSI reference model is the physical layer. It is responsible for the actual physical connection between the devices. The physical layer contains information in the form of bits. It is responsible for transmitting individual bits from one node to the next. When receiving data, this layer will get a signal received and convert it into zeros and ones and send them to the data link layer, which will put the frame back together. This is the diagram of physical layer 110001110011. Functions of physical layer: bit synchronization, bit control, physical topologies, transmission node. Let's see what is bit synchronization. The physical layer provides the synchronization of the bits by providing a clock. This clock controls both sender and the receiver, thus providing synchronization at the bit level. Bit rate control. The physical layer also defines a transmission rate, that is the number of bits sent per second. Physical topologies. Physical layer specifies how the different devices or nodes are arranged in a network, that is bus star or mesh topology. Transmission mode. Physical layer also defines how the data flows between the two connected devices. The various transmission modes possible are simplex, half duplex, and full duplex. Data link layer. Layer 2. The data link layer is responsible for the node to node delivery of the message. The main function of the layer is to make ensure that data transfer is error free from one node to another. The data link layer is divided into two sublayers. The first one is logical link control LLC, and the second one is media access control MAC. This is the systematic diagram of data link layer. Functions of the data link layer, that are framing, physical addressing, error control, flow control, and access control. What is framing? Let's see. Framing is a function of the data link layer. It provides a way for a sender to transmit a set of bits that are meaningful to the receiver. This can be accomplished by attaching special bit patterns to the beginning and ending of the frame. Physical addressing. After creating frames, the data link layer adds physical addresses, MAC addresses of the sender or receiver in the header of each frame. Error control. The data link layer provides the mechanism of error control in which it detects and retransmits damaged or lost frames. Flow control. The data rate must be constant on both sides, else the data may get corrupted. Thus, flow control coordinates the amount of data that can be sent before receiving an acknowledgement. Access control. When a signal communication channel is shared by multiple devices, the MAC sublayer of the data link layer helps to determine which device has control over the channel at a given time. Network layer, layer 3. The network layer works for the transmission of data from one host to the other located in different networks. It also takes care of packet routing, that is selection of the shortest path to transmit the packet from the number of routers available. The senders and receivers IP addresses are placed in the header by the network layer. The functions of network layer are routing and logical addressing. What is routing? The network layer protocols determines which router is suitable from source to destination. This function of the network layer is known as routing. Logical addressing to identify each device on internetwork uniquely. The network layer defines an addressing scheme. The sender and receiver's IP addresses are placed in the header by the network layer. Such an address distinguishes each device uniquely and universally. Transport layer, layer 4. The transport layer provides receiver to the application layer and takes services from the network layer. The data in the transport layer is referred to as segments. It is responsible for the end-to-end delivery of the complete message. The transport layer also provides the acknowledgement of the successful data transmission and retransmits the data if an error is found at the sender's side. The transport layer receives the formatted data from the upper layers, performs segmentation, and also implements flow and control to ensure proper data transmission. It also adds source and destination port numbers in its headers and forwards the segmented data to the network layer. Functions of the transport layer: segmentation and reassembly, service point addressing. Let's see segmentation and reassembly. This layer accepts the message from the session layer and breaks the messages into small units. Service point addressing to deliver the message to the correct process. The transport layer header includes a type of addresses called service point addresses to point addresses. Connection oriented service, connectionless service. Connection oriented service. It is a three-phase process that includes connection establishment, data transfer, termination, or disconnection. In this type of transmission, the receiving device sends an acknowledgement back to this source after a packet or group of packet is received. Session layer, layer 5. This layer is responsible for the establishment of connection, maintenance of sessions, and authentication, and also ensures security. Functions of this session layer: session establishment, maintenance, and termination. This layer allows the two processes to establish, use, and terminate a connection. Synchronization. This layer allows a process to add checkpoints that are considered as synchronization points in the data. This synchronization points helps to identify the error so that the data is re-synchronized properly and ends for the messages are not cut prematurely and data loss is avoided. Dialog control. The session layer allows two systems to start communication with each other in half duplex or full duplex. For example, let us consider a scenario where a user wants to message through some messenger application running in his browser. The messenger here acts as the application layer which provides the user with an interface to create the data. The message or so-called data is compressed, encrypted if any secure data and converted into bits, zeros and ones so that it can be transmitted. Presentation layer, layer 6. The presentation layer is also called as translation layer. The data from the application layer is extracted here and manipulated as per the required format to transmit over the network. The functions of presentation layer: translation, encryption or decryption, compression. Translation, for example ASCII to EBCDIC. Encryption or decryption: data encryption translates the data into another form or code. The encrypted data is known as the ciphertext, or the decrypted data is known as plaintext. A key value is used for encrypting as well as decrypting. data. Compression reduces the number of bits that need to be transmitted on the network. Application layer, layer 7. At the very top of the OSI reference model stack of layers, we find the application layer, which is implemented by the network applications. These applications provide the data which has to be transferred over the network. This layer also serves as a window for the application services to access the data and for displaying the received information to the users. For example, application browsers, Skype, Messenger, etc. The functions of application layer. The main function of application layer are given below. Network virtual terminal. It allows a user to log on to a remote host. FTAM, file transfer access and management. This application allows a user to access file in a remote host, retrieve files in remote host, and manage or control files from a remote computer. Mail services provide email service, directory services. This application provides distributed database sources and access for global information about various objects and services. This is all about OSI layers and services. Thank you.